Hi guys, Ray here from City Fan TV, and I'm joined by the B in the Bang. Bernard Janine, how you doing, buddy?
I'm wonderful, mate. I'm just considering we don't need KdB anymore, do we?
Well, you've stolen my thunder, you cheeky so-and-so. Yes, we're here to talk about Phil Foden. Phil Foden, and ask, is he the new KdB? That's a bit tongue-in-cheek because no player is going to be KdB, and you don't put pressure on anybody to be that kind of player. But after last night's performance against Newcastle, where he created 7 chances, and I think going back in the sands of time, the only players who created 7 chances in a game at City, in a league game, I think the last 8 or 9 have been KdB, and before that, David Silva. Now, that is top quality. He's top quality company. Look, I'm just quickly tell you a bit about Phil Foden, because Phil Foden can play, and Pep said it, he can play anywhere up front. He can play on the left wing, play on the right wing. We've seen him play there. He can play the false 9 up there. He can play as an attacking midfielder. I think he played a Champions League game as a left back or a wing back one game. So he can play anywhere on that pitch, and he will play anywhere on that pitch for City. But in the past, I remember a few years ago, Pep said his final position will be in the middle. I think as an attacking midfielder, like a 10 or whatever these numbers are. I don't know what these numbers are. But for now, he'll stay out wide, because I think the reason was he loses the ball too much. He takes risks. You lose it out on the left wing or the right wing, you've got the whole team to support you. You lose it in midfield, you're in danger straight away, and your defense can be swamped because of the positional areas on the pitch that you could be losing the ball. But we saw from Foden, and someone had to step into the breach. Someone had to step up because obviously no Bernardo, Gundogan's gone, KdB's injured, Mahrez has gone, senior players have gone, and my 2 pence is the way he played last night. He's 23 years old, but he played like a guy who's 27, 28, senior player, telling people what to do. We saw at the end of the game, GM players up, telling them to focus and concentrate for the last few minutes to maintain their concentration and their focus and pull us out of the win. So, Bernard, I'm going to give you the floor. I just want you to initially go over what you thought of Foden's performance last night, and then whether he can be the guy to step up in the absence of KdB, and not just in the absence of KdB, when KdB, he's 32, he's not going to be forever when he moves on.
Yeah, I mean, Pep obviously asked him to take that role last night, didn't he? It was obvious from the team formation. And the thing is, he's been allowed to do that because he's been surrounded by the Kovacic's of this world and the Akanjis to some extent, who played very, very well last night in a role that he's not familiar with. And Pep's asking him to play. And this is like Foden can play anywhere. Pep wants people like Akanji to play anywhere. The only perhaps person he's not ever worked for yet is probably Aki. But, even though he's been brilliant. But Foden, I mean, on the basis that he could possibly take a risk or two because he had these guys around him. And I can't. I mean, I'd have to watch the old game back to find if he did lose possession at any point whatsoever. But if he did, certainly not like Rodri. It didn't cause any problems. Didn't cause any problems anyway. Put it that way. When he did lose possession anyway, and it was, and he wasn't messing about as well. He wasn't hanging on to it deliberately. He was creating that space for himself, where it was a flashy turn, where he was pirouetting, where he was sashaying down the middle. It didn't matter what he was doing. He was always looking to move that ball on very quickly into, mainly Haaland, who obviously on another day, Foden would have probably had 3 or 4 assists at least in that game last night on a different day, a different finishing from our strikers. He worked well with Alvarez as well. Alvarez, I ignored him, but he again gave Foden that ability to be a bit freer by his workload, the way he works across the pitch, in and around, up and down. And Foden doesn't have to come back and get back too much. The problem we got with Foden, I think, is in front of goal. I mean, you mentioned David Silva before. Obviously, KdB, we can rely on KdB to spring a brilliant goal from here and there. Foden needs to work on that. We've seen he's a little bit. He's gone off because he used to be very good. I thought he used to be very good in front of goal, but his skills now, creativity wise, have seemed to superseded his goal scoring. But I'm sure that'll come. It'll be there. That's no problem. But he didn't need to do it. He's got the big guy up front, Anthony, to find. So he's just doing what KdB will be doing, looking for him, looking for Alvarez, who might be nipping in behind as well. And it's just superb. He did everything Pep wanted of him last night. I think Pep was enthusing over him, wasn't he, at the end of the game as well? And quite rightly. And my only problem with Foden is we've got to keep him fit. We've got to keep him, because at this point in time, as it stands with the squad, for the next 3 or 4 months, he's our main creativity guy, and he will get plenty of support from the Kovacic, the Guardiols, the Akanjis, the Alvarez, around that Rodri, around that middle of the park to give him protection. But we've got to keep him fit, and we know Foden's not got the greatest injury record over time since he's joined us. It's not too bad, I don't think, but the appendix, obviously, he can't allow for that. That was the only real main thing. I think he came back. He had a little knock early season, didn't he? So that's it. We have to keep him fit, give him a bit of support, perhaps creativity-wise as well. I don't particularly think we've got too many there who can do what he can do. So that means bringing someone in to help on that side as well, and that's what we'll have to do.
And absolutely, creativity-wise, he was the man. And like you say, I do recall he created 7 chances. One of them was for Alvarez. He stuck away. Haaland, if Haaland had scored his hat-trick, which he should have done, there's no question about that in my opinion. Haaland should have got a hat-trick last night. Foden would have walked off there with 4 or 5 assists. Newcastle would have taken a beating. And
I hope Southgate was watching last night. I hope Southgate, because the way he treats Phil Foden is for that crappy England team. I just hope he looked at how he played last night and what position he can play in for England. Or I don't want him to play for England and get injured, but I hope people. I'm sure he wasn't there last night. Southgate, I don't know what he's up to. He's probably on holiday somewhere, but that sort of performance shows what he can do when he's given that responsibility, and that's what it is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And look, good. And I you might not agree with him, but I think Gary Lineker is a fair pundit. So people on Match of the Day, they were full of and so enthusiastic about Foden, and basically they're saying he's got to be the main man for City and England. Get him in there, stick to it.
Was that last night? I've not watched Match of the Day yet. Was that on last night? Yeah,
last night. Yeah, but that's it. You've got to put Foden in and keep him in now. He's got to get those runner games. He's got to be consistent. That's it. Like you say, 2 things: not just stay out of keep injury free, but stay consistent. He's set the bar very, very high, and he's got to maintain that level. And because now we are relying on him without KdB being there, but he's only 23. Still only 23. Now, as I mentioned earlier, KdB, he's going to be out for 3 or 4 months. And then KdB, how long has he got left at City? 2 years? At a push, 3? And is Foden going to be the main man? How do you see, when KdB comes back, how do you see Foden's role changing? Or does KdB have to change to accommodate Foden, depending on how Foden plays?
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, obviously they've played together enough, but as you said, Foden's usually played out wide or something like that. I mean, I don't think it matters too much. As I say, Foden will adapt whatever it is, but we've seen the best of him, and it puts pressure on KdB as well when he's fit to actually, if Pep wants to keep his, if you like, more some good defensive attitude as well, which is what I think he's doing at the moment. He knows we're not as good up front, perhaps creativity wise, so he's concentrating on making sure we don't let things slip to you. We can win games 1-0. This is the whole thing. But when KdB comes back again, it's just adapting, isn't it, to what it is? He's certainly not going to play one or the other. I can see them both being on this team sheet, and that's. Pep's a clever guy. He'll know what to do with it. But hey, why not have 2 creative? We've certainly done it in the past. Why not have them both like some sort of pincer movement in the middle of the pitch? And why not? Where it's not just KdB feeding Haaland, but you got Foden on one and KdB. And the thing about Foden as well, KdB can do it, but Foden, even though he's very one-footed like a lot of the players, it doesn't matter to him whether he's on the right or the left. He still does the same sort of thing because he's got that ability. So it doesn't worry me. Perhaps, as I say, perhaps the big games they might change tack, but against most of the Premier League, he can probably play for both and have that creativity.
Yeah, I think if you are doing it against most of the Premier League, I think you've got to remember that both of these guys will work really hard, and I think that's the for me that's not the key, but it's
KdB last season before his injury. I've never seen him work so hard. That was his, for work rate, that was one of his best seasons ever.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you can play both. Especially if you've got Rodri and say Kovacic, who's putting in a good shift behind. And
it might stymie his sort of ability to bring this like Stones through and stuff like that. He might cock up that a little bit. He'd have to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, but is that a big problem? I mean, would you, as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather have KdB and Foden ahead.
I love Stones. I love Stones how he plays. I love how he plays Lewis, but they're not gonna create too much in front of goal. That's the problem. But I love the way they play and what he does with them. But Foden and KdB, well, first choice every time, creativity wise.
And I think the thing is with Foden, with the showing, he's, as I said earlier on, it's been consistent because he's done it before. We've seen him do, some fantastic games, and that's why I say you've got to be consistent. There's no point having don't be a Mahrez. Have a couple of great games and drop off. We need you to be at a high level, a consistent high level.
It's been like KdB. He can have dodgy games, but still score a goal or create a brilliant goal for someone else. And that's what, as long as Foden does that, that's all we can ever expect. All right, he's not going to have 9.5 out of 10 games like I rated him last night all the time. But as long as he creates 2 or 3 good chances, all right, it might not always work. I think that's all we can ask, and that's all we ever ask from KdB. We don't expect 10 out of 10 performances every time, just expecting that little bit of magic, and that's what Foden can possibly give us with his skills. And last night, I liked the way I have noticed. I did comment, or I've been commenting, that he tends to lose his balance or fall over or lack a little bit of strength. I think he's doing some weight since, because obviously I did say he needs to get in the gym. He just seemed a bit stronger last night as well, a bit strong. If someone went for him, he seemed to stay on his feet, and that's what I want to see as well. Because KdB, it takes a lot to knock KdB off the ball, and I want to see that with Foden in the first in pre-season and the Community Shield. Sevilla, I think he was losing balance or losing it at certain times when he just lost his balance. I mean, that thing at Wembley, where he pirouetted and nearly scored. He sort of in the box where he took it and flicked it on. I can't remember if it was Wembley or Sevilla, but and he couldn't quite finish it because he lost his balance. But last night, it seemed everything seemed to be right with him on his balance and his physicality, which is he's going to get a lot of stick in that middle of the park, so he's going to need that.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic, fabulous, fantabulous, or whatever other alliteration you can come up with, performance from Phil last night.
Well, I can't remember. I think I give Sergio Aguero 9.5 out of 10 in the 93-20 moment, but I don't give many players 9.5 out of 10. Perhaps the Champions League, just for the sake of it.
But he deserved it. He deserved it. I love the way, and I think everybody else loves the way that as the ball is played to him, he's facing the ball. He scans. You can see him scanning around as the ball's coming, so he knows where the ball's going. He can put blindfold on him, and he will. Once he sees the pass, he can take that ball.
When he's looking somewhere, but he passes it over there as well. It's like the Alvarez goal. He would give the eye to the defender, and obviously the ball went that way.
That was the thing. He knew where Alvarez was. So when the ball comes in, he's already scanned. He knows what to do, like KdB does as well at times. We've seen him do that, and then the defender will come and he'll just turn him and let the ball go on.
Paul does a lot of the work with Phil Foden. I mean, more than some of the other players. He lets the ball do a lot of the work. That's what he does. That's his great skill, and that is a fantastic skill to have.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Oh, Phil Foden, he's one of our own. And I just think, this could be his opportunity, his season to transition from out wide to central, to be the main creator. And
he's 23. We seem to think. I always think he's older. He's only 23. You know, this is the time now when he'll hopefully start to peak. And this KdB, we'd love to have KdB, of course we would. But you know, if you got him, give him that responsibility, he's shown he can do it. He's maturing as a footballer superbly.
Yeah, no, it's a brilliant performance. And as I said, hopefully he'll carry on now and he'll keep putting in these top level performances, because I think, we've got to look to the future. We've got to look past KdB as well, injuries and age and everything else. We'll catch up with him. And so fingers crossed. Thanks a lot, Bernard, mate. You have a good weekend. Hey, guys, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out. We'll see you around Blues.